I have quite a convoluted journey into academia, because I'm from Devon originally, and first person from my family to go to university, and ended up going to study law because I felt that was a sensible career path and something that, a good profession. However, I discovered that law was not for me, and I had worked during my summer vacations to fund my university degree, and went back and asked that factory where I was working if they could give me a job for the summer, which they did, and eventually became permanent. And that was sort of the start of a conventional career in business. It was a telecommunications company. It was part of the dot-com sort of boom in the 90s. And then the dot-com bubble burst, and a new company took over and started looking to outsource, subcontracting their manufacturing, and eventually moved the manufacturing to China, of which I helped set up and establish in China, but it also made me realise I might not have a job. And this sort of at that point in time, then I went, what do I actually want to do? I then thought, well, maybe I should continue this sort of career. I felt I'd hit a glass ceiling. Should I do an MBA and do something more business orientated? And then thought, actually, if I go back to university, I'm going to do something I want to do. I think I've always been a sociologist. I think I've always had a sociological imagination. I've always questioned the world and always thought about why are these, to a certain extent, social injustices taking place. But also, it explained what had happened to me as an individual. I was brought up in a part of Devon, quite traditional part of the world. My grandfather worked at the factory, my father worked at the factory. I ended up getting, both my brothers did, my cousins did. It was quite, a pillar of the local economy, but a pillar of the local community. And then suddenly that was moved to China. By studying sociology, I actually started to understand the wider political economy, globalization, and actually situate these wider markets and social and political forces and economic forces, and how it affected me as an individual, and actually affected my community and affected the people around me. All of my brothers have moved away. I've moved away from my hometown. Lots of people I worked with have moved away. It's had quite a detrimental effect on my local community and the local economy there. But also it's that fragmentation of everyday life. But also as an individual, I've been able to develop my interests and encourage that sociological imagination and move it forward. So it's allowed me to see myself in a much broader context. For me as an individual, it really helped me. Learning sociology really helped me locate myself, but also to provide that structural overview, utilising social theories. You could say, okay, this is why people act in certain ways. Rather than just merely criticising people or thinking that it's different, actually trying to understand how people work. And then I think it's made my interactions with them far, far better. I came from a management background, a business background. If I had understood that at that time, I would have been a better manager. I would have been able to understand their backgrounds, how their family lives fit together, and also situate that within those wider globalising factors and help maybe make them make sense of the world around them too. So it's not just about me as an individual, but it's how I can project that to people around me and influence them and help them understand what's going on too. Obviously I'm an advocate of sociology, but for the broader social sciences, I bring in a lot of other work into other social sciences into my own work. In particular, economics and political economy is that those wider macroeconomic effects and political decisions have an impact on people and individuals and communities as they ripple down. I also have bring in the sort of wider political aspects into how people see themselves as an identity formation. That obviously taps into other aspects of gender studies or ethnicity. And I think there's also that maybe more psychological aspect in that by understanding these broader social situations as an individual, we then understand how to interact with people. Maybe through understanding them, we interact better. In which case, society is in general is much improved by a bit of understanding and building those sort of bridges and those interactions and building from there. Someone should have told me at school. Someone should have told me when I was working. I'd have been a better student. I'd have been a better manager, and I think I'd have been a better person because I'd have understood what was going on around me.